Hi everyone, Happy New Year! For those that are new to my channel or returning, my name is Yeji, pronounced Yeji, and my channel is all about saving money while traveling because traveling can get extremely expensive. So if you don't have to spend money, why would you, right? So if that sounds interesting to you, let's be internet besties and consider subscribing below, and let's get into today's video. So today I wanted to talk about tips on traveling with a baby/toddler. I have a 3-year-old, but we started traveling with her when she was 3 months. So I feel like these past 3 years, I've gotten a good sense of what it's like to travel with a baby. So I wanted to share those tips because traveling as an adult, like by yourself, is so different. Let me tell you, compared to traveling with a baby. I have 11 tips for you and they're not in any specific order. So let's get started with number one. Number one is that babies under 2 travel for free. I actually didn't know that babies travel for free if they're under 2, which was like a huge surprise for me. And this only applies to domestic travel, not international trips. International, unfortunately, you have to pay 10% of the adult fare, even if they are under 2 and they don't take up a seat. Of course, if they take up a seat, then you'll have to pay for that seat. So if you are planning on traveling, then it's better to travel when your baby's under 2 so you can take advantage of that free travel. Now, keep in mind with this though, your baby still needs a boarding pass even if they are under 2. So when you check in at the counter, just make sure that they give you a boarding pass for the baby, because this happened to me once where I went to TSA and I had to turn back and go back to check in because I didn't get a boarding pass for my baby. So don't forget that boarding pass. Number 2 is to try to fly during nap times or take a red-eye flight. So if you are flying when the baby's like napping, it's easier on you because obviously the baby's sleeping, so you don't have to worry about the baby like crying or being fussy and all that, When the baby's sleeping, hopefully you'll be able to relax too and get some sleep as well. If your baby is under 2, you can request a bassinet from the airline beforehand. Of course, they have to fit into the measurements of the bassinet and not all airlines have bassinets available. And that's just something nice because then you don't have to carry your baby like the whole flight. My daughter unfortunately hated the bassinet even when she was like 3 months old, so it never worked out for us. I always had to carry her. But if your baby sleeps in the bassinet, you're so lucky. Number 3 is to make sure you feed your baby during takeoff and landing. So sometimes babies have a hard time like popping their ears. Giving them milk to drink or some sort of snack kind of helps like pop those ears while they're flying, and they'll be a lot less fussy. And kind of going off of that like food and snack category, number 4 is knowing that you can bring milk and water onto your flight and through security. So a lot of people wonder like, oh, what's the limit of how much milk or water can I bring through TSA? The answer is there is no limit. You can bring however much you want, even if you're not flying with the baby. So if you're breastfeeding, but your baby's not with you, you can still bring in like milk you collected through TSA, which is really nice. You don't have to follow like the measurements that they require for liquids. So you may get pulled over, but that's not because, you're carrying too much or anything like that. So don't worry, you can bring in as much milk or water as needed. Number 5 is having the right carrier and a stroller. If your baby's not walking yet, I suggest having both a carrier and a stroller with you. A carrier because on the plane, let's say you have to walk around because your baby's fussy or not, it's better to have them in a carrier, right? Because they're heavy or they can get heavy, trust me. So having a carrier is very handy. But even if you're not walking, babies like to be held even when you're sitting, and it's soothing for them, right? To be with a mom or a dad. So having a carrier just makes it a little bit easier even while you're sitting down. That way your arms are not like bunched up like this all the time. It's also a good idea to travel with a stroller. So there's multiple ways to travel with a stroller. You can check it in as like a piece of luggage, and normally car seats and strollers you can check in for free. You don't have to pay for them or anything like that. Or you can gate check right before you board the plane. You kind of leave your stroller out and they check it in for you. That way you can use the stroller at the airport, because let's say like you're in a big airport or even just a regular airport, you don't want to be carrying your baby all the time. Like think of your shoulders, especially if you have like a chubby baby, it's hard on you. And you got to think of your luggage, right? Your like purse or the diaper bag. It's a lot. So having a stroller at the airport is also useful. But what we like to do is having a stroller that is cabin approved, which means that you can put the stroller above you. That way, when you land, you can automatically just deboard the plane instead of having to wait for them to hand you your stroller. And sometimes even if you gate check your stroller, it could be destroyed because these people don't care. They just like dump the stroller and mishandle it a lot of the times. Also, sometimes even if you gate check your stroller, they will give it to you right outside the plane. Depending on the airline, sometimes you have to go to the luggage belt. So meaning like you have to go through the whole airport without a stroller. So that's inconvenient for me. I just like to keep my belongings with me. There's two brands that I recommend. One is the Baby Zen Yo-Yo 2. I think Stocky, you know, the high chair brand, they bought it recently. Now it's just the Stocky Yo-Yo, they call it. And the other one is Bugaboo Butterfly. They both fit above the plane, and they always ask you before you check in if these are cabin approved, and you can just say yes, and then they'll let you board. The car seat that we like to travel with, and I've done a lot of research, and found that the Wavy Pico car seat is actually ranked really high even amongst like blogs and like magazines. It's super sturdy, super light, and that's the thing I like, because when you're traveling internationally, you have like a bunch of check-in bags and you don't want to have to carry another like car seat that's super bulky, you know? It folds right up and it comes with a bag, so it's super nice. The one thing I like about this car seat, outside of it being lightweight, is that you can use it not only for travel, but it can be like your main car seat instead of having to spend another couple $100s to buy another car seat, you know? Number 6 is bringing toys on the plane. So toys or stuffed animals or whatever entertainment things that you need to bring for your little one, I suggest you bring something, because I mean, it's natural. Babies are gonna cry. So if you can minimize them crying and disturbing other people, or to keep your sanity as well, because sometimes if your baby's just crying and crying and crying, you can go a little crazy. So anything to keep them entertained on the plane is highly recommended. And going off of that, I say also bring something new, something that they've never played with before. That way it'll keep their attention span a little bit longer on the plane, you know, because it's something new and shiny and they've never played with it before. So they're going to be entertained for a little bit longer than that one toy that they play with like a billion times. And number 7 is, if you are breastfeeding, I suggest bringing like a portable breast pump. So I use the LV. I liked it because it was super quiet, but it was still mighty. So I still was able to pump really well, because sometimes, you know, a portable breast pump doesn't really pump as much as your traditional pump. But my experience with the LV has been really good. Also, I mean, a lot of the times your insurance covers it, so it's free. So why wouldn't you want to pick one up, you know? Number 8 is having access to lounges. So whether you're traveling domestically or internationally, it's always nice to go somewhere quiet, or quieter, I should say. And a lot of the premium credit cards come with lounge access. So it's not like you have to pay extra for lounge access. Getting the right credit cards is helpful, and that's what this channel is all about. To help you find the right credit card for you and your family. Credit cards also give you like global entry and TSA, and sometimes clear as well, which all helps you breeze through security. That way you don't have to be in line with your little one, especially if they're throwing a fit and having to wait in line. Like, that's a huge no-no. So having credit cards that give you lounge access and global entry is very helpful to families. And number 9 is, if you can, I would suggest flying business class, especially if you are flying international. Domestically, the flights are generally not that long. I mean, if you're flying from the East Coast to the West Coast, I think that's like 5 hours, right? So that's a bit long, but that's still not as bad as flying internationally, where you have to fly like 8+ hours. Or in my case, I flew to Korea from Dallas, and that was 14 hours. And I flew alone with a 5-month-year-old baby at that time, and I said, never again am I flying alone with a baby before they start walking. It was so bad that the flight back from Korea to Dallas, I actually like got my husband to fly to Korea just so that he can help me fly back with my baby. Yeah, it was that bad. Flying business class is just more comfortable because you get a little bit more room to stretch your legs or even lie down. And if you are flying with a baby under 2 and you have to share a seat, it's easier if you can just set the baby down versus having to carry your baby all the time, you know? And I know technically service should be the same whether you're flying economy or business or even first class, but I mean, let's be real. Flight attendants are a lot more friendlier if you fly business and first class compared to economy. I mean, it makes sense because economy has a lot of people, so they have a lot of time for you if you fly business class. So if you request something, they're able to help you right away versus having to wait like 10-20 minutes for them to do something. Number 10 is to keep in mind that certain airlines have baby food on the plane. So in the case of Emirates, and a bunch of Asian airlines also provide milk, like baby milk. If you run out of milk or baby formula, at least they have something in case of an emergency. Like I said, not every airline has this, so just make sure to do your research or call ahead and ask. And last but not least, which I actually think this is one of the most important ones to keep in mind, is to make sure to change your baby's diaper, or if they're potty trained already, then take them to the bathroom to make sure they go pee pee before you board the plane. Because what happens a lot of times is that it's during takeoff and all of a sudden they need to go to the bathroom. Well, you can't, and accidents can happen. So I recommend changing that diaper or taking them to the bathroom, even if they don't have to go, just make them go before you get on the plane. And there you have it, my 11 tips on flying with a baby or a toddler. Flying with another little human is so different than flying alone. First of all, you're gonna have like double the luggage basically because you have to carry a diaper bag with you. So it can get stressful. We just need to remember that we got this, we can do this. All we need to do is do our research and have the right things with us, then everything will be okay. Well, hopefully everything will be okay. If you guys have any questions regarding flying with a baby or a toddler, please leave them down below. Also, if you know any good tips on flying with a toddler, let me know down below because I would love to also read about it. So it helps me travel with my baby a little bit easier as well. And on that note, I hope as usual this video was helpful. If you found it informative, then please consider liking and subscribing. And I'll see you guys next time with a different video. Bye!